It was a dark and stormy night in the heart of the Blackwood Forest. A young American tourist named Jack found himself lost in the vast wilderness that he was foolishly attempting to explore alone. With his phone dead and the rain pouring down heavily, panic started to set in. As he trudged through the dense underbrush, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He quickened his pace, trying to ignore the eerie silence that enveloped the forest. Suddenly, a blood-curdling howl shattered the stillness, causing Jack to stumble and fall. "Great. Just great," Jack muttered, pushing himself up from the muddy ground. He didn't know it yet, but that howl belonged to a pack of feral wolves that roamed these woods. He wiped the mud from his clothes and decided it was time to come up with a plan. Hearing the distant sound of water, Jack moved in that direction, hoping to find a river or stream that would lead him back to civilization. With each step, the intensity of the rain grew, making it harder for him to see. It was as if the forest itself was trying to swallow him whole. After what felt like hours, Jack finally stumbled upon a riverbank. The water flowed wildly, reflecting the stormy night sky. He dropped to his knees, cupping his hands to drink as he desperately tried to regain his strength. Suddenly, a voice pierced through the rain-soaked air. Well, a deep, menacing voice drawled. "Look what we have here, boys. A lost lamb in our territory." Jack's heart skipped a beat as he turned to see four men emerging from the shadows. They were rugged and unkempt, their eyes glinting with malice. "Who are you?" he stammered, his voice trembling. The man who seemed to be their leader stepped forward, a wicked grin splitting his face. "We're the Lost Souls, boy. You're trespassing in our territory, and that's not something we take kindly to around here. Please, I didn't mean to intrude," Jack pleaded, fear coursing through his veins. "I just got lost. I didn't even know this place belonged to anyone." "Ignorance won't save you, kid," sneered one of the Lost Souls, cracking his knuckles. "The forest doesn't forgive. Especially not on such an eerie night." Jack's mind raced. He needed to come up with a way to escape, to somehow outsmart this gang of outlaws. With one last hopeful glance at the river, an idea struck him. "Look, I have something that can benefit all of us," Jack said, his voice steady now. "I know where a secret treasure is hidden in these woods. If you let me go, I'll give you the location." The Lost Souls exchanged glances, intrigue sparking in their eyes. "A treasure, you say?" the leader asked, a flicker of greed behind his gaze. "And why would we trust you?" "Because if I die out here, the secret of the treasure dies with me," Jack replied. "You need me alive to find it. Let's make a deal. My life for the treasure." The Lost Souls huddled together, their voices hushed. The rain continued to pour, amplifying the tension in the air. After what felt like an eternity, they turned back to Jack, nodding in agreement. "All right, kid. We'll give you a head start. But remember, if you try anything funny, we won't hesitate to hunt you down," the leader warned, traces of a smile lingering on his face. With that, Jack wasted no time. He sprinted away from the riverbank, adrenaline coursing through his veins. But something was off. The forest felt alive, shifting as if it had a mind of its own. The wolves' howls grew closer, sending a shiver down his spine. Jack ran blindly through the trees, feeling disoriented and overwhelmed by the labyrinthine wilderness. As his legs burned with exhaustion, he stumbled across an old, dilapidated cabin. With no other options, he threw the door open and rushed inside, praying for temporary solace. The inside of the cabin was just as decrepit as the outside. Cobwebs clung to the corners, and the air was thick with dust. Jack allowed himself a moment to catch his breath, his eyes scanning the room for any signs of danger. Suddenly, a creaking sound echoed through the cabin, causing Jack to jump. He turned to see the door slowly opening, revealing a silhouette against the stormy night. Panic gripped him, the fear intensifying as the figure emerged from the shadows. "Who are you?" Jack asked, his voice trembling. The figure stepped forward, revealing a weathered face and a wild, unkempt beard. "Name's Henry," the old man croaked, his voice hoarse. "I've been living alone in these woods for years. What brings a lost soul like you here, boy?" Jack explained his predicament to Henry, who let out a throaty chuckle. "You've gotten yourself into quite a mess," he said. "But I might be able to help you." Intrigued, Jack leaned in closer. "How?" he asked, his eyes filled with hope. "There's an ancient curse upon these woods," Henry whispered conspiratorially. "It twists reality, confuses the mind. But there's a way to break it. Find the Whispering Willow, deep within the heart of the forest. There lies your salvation." Jack's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you, Henry," he said. "I'll find that Whispering Willow and put an end to this nightmare." With renewed determination, Jack set out once again, following Henry's instructions. The rain continued to fall, dripping from the leaves like whispers. As Jack ventured deeper into the forest, he noticed a change in the atmosphere. The air grew heavy, charged with an otherworldly energy. He could feel eyes watching him, invisible presences lurking just beyond his vision. Eventually, Jack stumbled upon a small clearing, bathed in an ethereal, pale light. And there, standing tall and mighty, was the Whispering Willow. Its branches whispered stories of lost souls and forgotten dreams. Jack approached the tree cautiously, his hand outstretched to touch the bark. Suddenly, an explosion of energy rippled through him, knocking him to the ground. The curse had found him. As Jack lay there, disoriented, he felt himself being engulfed by a blinding light. When he regained his senses, he found himself in the heart of the forest once more. But this time, it was different. The storm had cleared, and a golden hue bathed the trees. He looked around, feeling a sense of tranquility that was absent before. His mind was clear, free from the suffocating fog that had plagued him since his arrival in the Blackwood Forest. "It seems you have found your way," a soft voice echoed in the air. Jack turned to see a figure materialize before him, radiant and ethereal. "Who are you?" Jack asked in awe, feeling an inexplicable warmth emanating from the figure. "I am the spirit of the Whispering Willow," the figure replied. "You have broken the curse that has bound this forest for centuries. With your courage, you have brought peace to these woods." Jack blinked in disbelief. "But how?" The spirit of the Whispering Willow smiled. "The real treasure was never physical," it said. "It was the liberation of your own spirit and the restoration of harmony in this forest. You possess a strength within you that cannot be measured in gold or jewels." Jack felt humbled by the revelation. He had sought wealth, but instead found something much more profound. "Thank you," he whispered, his eyes welling up with tears. "I am forever grateful." As Jack made his way back to civilization, the forest seemed to rejoice. The birds sang a chorus of celebration, and the animals watched him pass with newfound trust. He found his way to a small town nearby, where he shared his story with the locals. They listened in awe, captivated by the tale of the American lost in the Blackwood Forest. "You're lucky you made it out alive," an old man remarked, shaking his head. "Those woods hold secrets that most never return from." "I may have been lost," Jack said thoughtfully, "but I found something far more valuable than any treasure." Weeks passed, and Jack returned to his life in America. But the experience in the Blackwood Forest had changed him. He appreciated the little things and felt a profound connection to nature. One day, as he sat in his office staring at a stack of paperwork, a news article caught his eye. It was about the disappearance of the Lost Souls gang. Their bodies never found, their whereabouts a mystery. A shiver ran down Jack's spine, realizing that he had narrowly escaped a fate worse than being lost in the wilderness. He couldn't help but wonder if there was something more to the curse of the Blackwood Forest. Months went by, and Jack's memory of the forest began to fade. Until one fateful day, when a package arrived at his doorstep. Inside was a small, hand-carved wooden figure of a wolf howling at the moon. Confusion washed over Jack as he held the wooden wolf in his hands. There was no note or explanation, just the haunting reminder of the forest that had once consumed him. Intrigued, Jack did some research and learned about the legends surrounding the Blackwood Forest. The stories spoke of a curse that claimed the souls of those who ventured too far. Determined to uncover the truth, Jack booked a flight back to the small town near the forest. He knew he had to find out what really happened to the lost souls and why he had received that mysterious package. Upon his arrival, the town greeted Jack with a mixture of caution and curiosity. They warned him of the dangers that lurked in the forest but also shared stories about its mysterious powers. Jack decided to visit Henry, the old man who had helped him before. He knew that Henry might hold the key to unlocking the secrets of the Blackwood Forest. When Jack arrived at Henry's cabin, he found it empty and abandoned. It looked as if it hadn't been occupied in years. Confusion filled him once again, and he wondered if he had taken a fool's errand. But just as he was about to turn back, he noticed a worn leather journal lying on a nearby table. Intrigued, Jack picked it up and flipped through the pages. It was Henry's journal, filled with cryptic symbols and fragmented accounts of his encounters with the forest. As Jack read through the journal, he pieced together the truth. The curse was not just a legend, but a sinister force that consumed those who dared to challenge its boundaries. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the cabin, extinguishing the candle at Jack's side. Darkness enveloped the room, and he felt a presence behind him. "So, you've come seeking answers," a voice whispered in his ear. Jack's heart raced as he turned to face the source of the voice. Standing before him was a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light. "Welcome, Jack," it hissed. "You're just in time for the climax of our little game." Jack's mind reeled, fear gripping him like a vice. "Who are you?" he managed to choke out, his voice trembling. The figure chuckled, a sound that seemed to echo through the depths of the forest. "I am the guardian of the curse, boy. And you, dear Jack, are the final piece of my puzzle." Jack's blood ran cold. He realized he had unwittingly stumbled upon a battle between the forces of good and evil, with the fate of the Blackwood Forest hanging in the balance. "What do you want from me?" Jack asked, his voice barely a whisper. The guardian grinned, revealing jagged, yellowed teeth. "Your soul, boy. The curse needs a willing sacrifice to seal its power once and for all." Panic surged through Jack's veins. He knew that he had to fight, to find a way to break free from the clutches of the curse. But time was running out, and the forest conspired against him. Just as despair threatened to consume him, a small ray of moonlight filtered through the cabin window, illuminating the journal in Jack's hands. His eyes fell upon a particular page, where a ritual was described, a ritual that could break the curse. Jack clutched the journal tightly, his heart pounding with newfound determination. He knew what he had to do. He needed to find the Whispering Willow once again. With every ounce of strength he could muster, Jack broke free from the Guardian's grasp and sprinted towards the heart of the forest. The dark shadows chased him, their chilling whispers echoing through the trees. As he ran, Jack called upon the spirits of the forest for guidance. He remembered how they had watched over him during his previous visit and hoped they would do so again. The forest seemed to respond to his pleas, guiding him through the labyrinth of trees and thick underbrush. And just when he thought he couldn't go any further, he stumbled upon the clearing once more, bathed in the same ethereal light as before. With the journal as his guide, Jack performed the ritual with unwavering focus. The Whispering Willow shimmered, releasing a surge of energy that rippled through the forest. As the echoes of the curse faded, so did the Guardian's power. The dark shadows dissipated, leaving Jack standing alone in the clearing. The Blackwood Forest was finally free.